what your handwriting says about you. Have you ever wondered what your handwriting says about you? No, we're not talking about good versus bad handwriting. We're talking about graphology, or the analysis of handwriting as it relates to psychology. Did you know that how you write can indicate more than 5,000 personality traits? The size of your letters, spacing between words, shapes of your letters, and more can all signify different characteristics that say a lot about you. For example, if you write with rounded letters, then this could mean you are creative and artistic. Whereas if you write with pointed letters, then this could mean you are intense and curious. Handwriting analysis can even be used for detecting lies and revealing possible health ailments. Let's admit it, some students have some pretty childlike handwriting, while others can easily communicate with their gorgeous writing skills that our elementary teachers loved. So why do some people have better handwriting than others? Does it vary case by case? Does it reflect your personality? Well, graphologists believe your handwriting speaks volumes about your personality and is even an expression of the subconscious. First, what establishes good handwriting? Good and bad can be interpreted differently among students. Good handwriting can be recognized as neat, legible, and stylistic, while bad handwriting can be recognized as hard to read, sloppy, and careless. The standards of what makes good handwriting, at least in school, were established in our early years of learning, when most teachers would grade students based on their ability to copy a letter of the alphabet accurately, or something along those lines. This notion may have stuck with some students, believing that writing neatly and accurately is better, and would eventually earn them something. Some people have handwriting so beautiful that it's almost like art. That is where the line between everyday handwriting and calligraphy blurs. Calligraphy is practice of decorative handwriting and seen as an art form. The super neat handwriting you may use might borderline a sort of casual modern calligraphy. The psychology of handwriting is known as graphology. Even though we're all taught to write a certain way in school, there's no evidence that people continue to write the exact way they learned, so everyone's handwriting is unique to the person. In fact, it's shown that as soon as someone learns to write, they gradually begin to alter the sizes and shapes of letters according to their own likes and dislikes. But why is this? It's because our personalities affect the development of handwriting. Since handwriting represents a pattern of our psychology expressed through symbols on a page, these symbols are as unique as a person's DNA. If your writing slants to the right, you are open to the world around you and like to socialize with other people. To the left, you generally like to work alone or behind the scenes. If you are right-handed and your handwriting slants to the left, you may be expressing rebellion. Not at all. You tend to be logical and practical. You are guarded with your emotions. If the size of your letters is large, you have a big personality. Many celebrities have large handwriting. It may suggest that you are outgoing and like the limelight. Small, you are focused and can concentrate easily. You tend to be introspective and shy. Average, you are well-adjusted and adaptable. If your loops are closed for L, feeling tense, this implies you are restricting yourself in some way. Full for L, you are spontaneous and relaxed and find it easy to express yourself. Closed for E, you tend to be skeptical and are unswayed by emotional arguments. Full for E, you have an open mind and enjoy trying new things. If your S's are round, you are a people pleaser and seek compromise. You avoid confrontation. Pointy, you are intellectually probing and like to study new things. The higher and pointier the peaks, the more ambitious you are. Open at the bottom, you might not be following your heart. For example, you always wanted to be an artist, but you have a career in finance. Printed, you are versatile. Line quality, if your writing is faint, like a bad photocopy, simply focus on pressing harder. If you press so hard that your fingers got sore, correct your grip. Try to hold the pen between the pads of your middle finger and thumb, with your index finger resting on top. Alignment. Does your sentence tilt up or down on the page? If the answer is yes, use an index card to guide you when you write on unlined paper. Use the top of the note card as the base for each line of writing, and use the space between the lines on the card as a reference for the amount of space you should leave between the lines of your note. Slant. To straighten up a bit, adjust the angle of the paper. Think of your writing space as a clock with 12 o'clock straight ahead. If you're right-handed, rotate the page so that the bottom right corner is at 4 o'clock and the top left one is at 10 o'clock. For lefties, the bottom left corner should fall at 8 and the upper right corner at 2. Spacing. If your letters and words are too close together, they blend into one another. Too far apart and they get lost in space. Imagine a lowercase o split vertically in half. That's the correct amount of space to leave between each letter. A full lowercase o should fit between words. Letter formation. Everyone has a letter or two that manage to get mangled in daily penmanship. Lowercase letters, especially vowels, are the usual suspects. Look at what you wrote and circle the letters that aren't completely closed or are missing stems. Be more mindful of them and slow down. Handwriting is an average size in that the top of the letters sit just below the center of line. The writer is well adjusted and adaptable. Moving on to the spacing of words, people who leave large gaps between words enjoy their freedom and don't like to be crowded, while people who write words close together can't stand to be alone and might be intrusive. If handwriting slants to the right, the person is open to new experiences and enjoy meeting new people. If handwriting slants to the left, that person tends to keep themselves to themselves. People whose handwriting doesn't slant in either direction are logical and practical. Personality traits are also identifiable by the way individual letters are written. According to the graphic, the type of looping created by the letters L and E can suggest a person's nature. For example, wide loops mean someone is relaxed and spontaneous as well as open-minded. Alternatively, people who write narrow loops tend to be skeptical of others and may restrict themselves from certain activities, which causes feelings of tension. The way people dot their I's and cross their T's can also be a personality indicator. If the dot of the letter is situated high above the base, it suggests the writer has a great imagination. If the dot is close to the base, they are organized and empathetic. Procrastinators tend to dot their I's and J's to the left of the base letter, while childlike personality types will draw their dots as circles. Slashes used in the place of dots mean the writer doesn't have patience for inadequacy or are overly self-critical and are annoyed by people who don't learn from their mistakes. Long crosses on T's suggest someone who is determined and enthusiastic, but also stubborn. Short crosses tend to be written by someone who is lazy. People who write rounded letters are more creative and artistic, while pointed letters are a sign of aggression or intelligence. Connected letters mean the writer is logical. When people write the letter O with a loop or hole at the top of the letter, it means they are talkative and sociable, while closed O's indicate someone who is private. Similarly, a rounded lowercase s means the writer is a people pleaser, but if the rounded bottom is too wide, it suggests they may not be following their heart either in their career or other pursuits. People who place heavy pressure on the pen when they write, which can cause darker, thicker handwriting, are good with commitment and taking things seriously, but don't respond well to criticism. Light-handed writers tend to be empathetic and sensitive but lack vitality. If someone writes quickly, they are impatient and dislike delays or time wasters, and slower writers are more methodical and self-reliant. The graph also claims that a person's health can be identified from their handwriting. For example, people with high blood pressure tend to have writing that is sometimes heavy and dark, and at other times light. Schizophrenics tend to have writing that switches direction in the way that it slants between left and right, and this is supposedly a sign of a person not having continual contact with reality. One of the symptoms of Parkinson's disease is very small, cramped handwriting, known as micrographia. Handwriting with heavy pressure is also a sign of high energy levels, whereas light pressure is a sign of tiredness. In other tests, writing the capital letter I much larger than other capitals is usually written by someone who is arrogant and have a high opinion of themselves. Writing that changes dramatically over the course of a text is symbolic of lying. According to the psychology of handwriting, bad handwriting is complex and can actually mean many things. For starters, it can show that a person carries a great deal of emotional baggage. Additionally, bad writers may lack stability, have a bad temper, or be emotionally volatile. Some even say that when someone is terrible at handwriting, it can signify hostility, cruelty, or even aggressiveness. This became a thought due to people like Jack the Ripper, who had awful writing, but most agree these are extreme cases. More commonly, sloppy handwriting shows that a person is insecure and has low self-esteem, but can also show self-governance and a desire to be judged as an individual rather than conforming to a standard way of doing things. But don't worry if you have lousy handwriting. There are some consolations. It's thought that people who don't care to write neatly are independent thinkers and don't care to fit in with society's expectations. Much the same, it can show that a person is creative, since many journalists and authors have handwriting that goes in every direction. Other experts think that people with irregular handwriting are eccentric, which was the case with the famed violinist Paganini. He was known for being creative and odd, so he fits into both categories. So, having bad handwriting doesn't mean you're different in a negative way. Quite the contrary. Think of famous people such as Beethoven and Freud. Both of these men had ghastly writing but were imaginative and creative. First and foremost, always remember that handwriting interpretation is up to the person doing the interpreting. While there probably is truth to analyzing a person's handwriting, if you're not an expert, don't take your interpretations too seriously. Instead, try graphology to have fun. With that being said, here are some steps you can take to analyze personality handwriting. Get a good handwriting sample. If possible, ask the person for a cursive writing sample on paper that's unlined, because cursive writing on this type of paper is easier to analyze than print writing on lined paper. What's even better is if you can obtain several samples that are spaced a few hours apart. Handwriting can change with circumstance and mood, so one sample may not be as accurate. Analyze stroke pressure. If you've seen many types of handwriting, then you already know that some people press down hard with the writing instrument while others use a lighter touch. This is evident in how dark the writing appears on the front and back of the paper. This is how to analyze pressure. High pressure. This can indicate higher emotional energy and can show that the person is sensual, intense, or vigorous. Average pressure. The person may be anchored and calm. Perhaps they even have good memory or perception skills.